Welcome back to my channel. We all remember that day. The sun was blazing over Flagstaff, and for a brief moment, it seemed the Brown family's future was just as bright. There they were, gathered around a table, pens in hand, ready to sign what they believed was the beginning of their forever dream. Brown Family Land, LLC. Kody beamed with pride, calling it a symbol of unity. "Now we're all equal partners," he declared. The wives smiled, trusting him, believing they were cementing a shared legacy of love and security. But as the cameras rolled and the signatures dried, another legacy, a darker one, was being written in ink that day. Because behind those smiles, behind that talk of family unity, lay a legal betrayal so calculated it would take years to uncover. Cut to the real evidence, the official operating agreement. A cold, emotionless document naming just two managing members, Kody Brown and Robyn Brown. That's it. No Janelle. No Christina. No Mary. Just Kody and Robyn, holding all the power, all the control, and ultimately, all the land. What was signed that day wasn't a family partnership. It was a corporate coup. And according to insider reports, the person who finally pieced it all together was none other than Maddie Brown. For years, Maddie has stood fiercely by her mother Janelle, the quiet, logical wife who always tried to keep peace in chaos. But when Janelle finally hit her breaking point after separating from Kody, she decided to do what she should have done years ago. She hired a lawyer, not just for a divorce, but for a forensic financial investigation. She wanted answers. Where had her money gone? What did she actually own? And what was she left with after giving decades of her life to the Brown family dream? The lawyer looked over every document, every page Janelle had signed, including the Brown Family Land LLC papers she'd barely skimmed that sunny afternoon. A few days later, the truth came crashing down. What Janelle had signed wasn't equality. It was surrender. In that LLC, there are two kinds of members, managing and non-voting. And guess which ones the wives were? Janelle, Christine, and Mary, all non-voting members. Kody and Robyn, the only managing members. They could take loans, sell property, transfer deeds, and no one else could stop them. According to Maddie, the lawyer put it bluntly, "Your mother and the other wives handed over $600,000 worth of assets, and they have no legal control." $600,000. Gone. That wasn't just money. That was 2 decades of work, savings, and trust. When the family left Las Vegas, it was Mary and Janelle's homes that sold for the biggest profits. That money, their life savings, went into buying Coyote Pass, a property valued at $820,000. But when the dust settled, it wasn't Mary or Janelle holding power over their investment. It was Kody and Robyn, the two people who contributed the least yet claimed the most. This wasn't love. This was strategy, a hostile takeover disguised as family bonding. And Kody, as always, knew how to sell the dream. He'd talk fast with that familiar charm. "We have to act now. This is for all of us. It's standard paperwork." And with the cameras rolling and the emotional weight of family unity hanging in the air, who would dare say no? Who would pause a filming day and say, "Hold on, Kody. I want my own lawyer to check Article 4, Section 2B of this agreement"? No one. Because questioning Kody meant questioning the family itself. And that's how the trap was set. That's how, under the blazing Flagstaff sun, 3 women unknowingly signed away their power and handed Kody and Robyn full control of the Brown family's fortune. But now, the truth is out. And the question remains, will Janelle and the others fight back? Or has the dream of Coyote Pass become the Brown family's greatest betrayal? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Writing they were wives in a plural family, not corporate attorneys. They were conditioned to trust their husband, the Patriarch. And that trust was the very weapon Kody and Robyn used against them. The document they signed that day made them partners in name only. They held what looked like a piece of ownership, a title on paper, but it was hollow. Their membership was non-voting, which meant they had no real power. No voice, no veto, no control. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn, the managing members, were given breathtaking authority. They could take out loans or mortgages using the entire family's land as collateral. They could drain the LLC's funds, pay themselves management salaries, and no one could stop them. Because legally, everything they did was authorized. Think about that for a moment. Kody could pull out a home equity loan, hundreds of thousands of dollars secured against Coyote Pass, and use it to buy cars, pay debts, or fund his and Robyn's lifestyle. The land, the equity, the security, all came from the wives' money. But the benefits? They flowed straight into Kody and Robyn's hands. And the most chilling power of all? The power of sale. Kody and Robyn alone can sell the entire Coyote Pass property. They could walk into a meeting tomorrow, sell it to a developer for millions, and legally keep every dollar in the LLC's account. Who controls that bank account? You guessed it. The managing members, Kody and Robyn. They could dissolve the LLC, distribute the funds however they wanted, and leave Janelle, Mary, and Christine with next to nothing. Not even a legal leg to stand on. Because the wives, by signing that document, waived their rights to object. They gave up their money, their land, and their future, all in the name of family unity. And suddenly, every moment we've seen on SisterWives since the move to Flagstaff starts to make sense. The endless delays, the excuses, the emotional manipulation. Why build houses and share control when the barren land itself was their personal gold mine? As long as Coyote Pass remained empty dirt, Kody and Robyn held the power. No one could question them. No one could move in. No one could see the truth. Janelle's RV moment now takes on a whole new meaning. It wasn't just about independence, it was defiance. By parking on that land, she was physically claiming what was hers. But Kody's reaction? Fury. He wasn't angry about logistics. He was angry about insubordination. In his mind, Janelle was a silent partner, trespassing on property he and Robyn controlled. And then there's Robyn's $1 million mansion. At the time, the family was drowning in debt. Mary's catfishing scandal had cut into income, and multiple rentals were draining their finances. So how did Kody and Robyn afford that massive house? Now we know. With the LLC in place, they had collateral, proof of assets, the wives' assets. They could leverage the family land to secure their loan, essentially using Janelle and Mary's money to buy Robyn her dream home. Meanwhile, Janelle was living in a cramped apartment. And later, an RV. This wasn't just dysfunction. This was a calculated corporate fraud, years in the making. The LLC was never about unity. It was a Trojan horse disguised as fairness that stripped the original wives of power while giving Kody and Robyn total control. And there's one more layer, the legal one. Kody and Robyn, as managing members, have what's called a fiduciary duty. They're legally bound to act in the best interests of all members, not just themselves. But according to insider reports, they didn't. They used that power for personal gain, to fund their own comfort, their own security, while the other wives were left with empty promises. It's emotional manipulation wrapped in legal deceit. For years, Kody gaslit these women, accusing them of being ungrateful, disloyal, and selfish, while he quietly held a document proving that, in the eyes of the law, their voices didn't even matter. He wasn't just the patriarch by faith. He made himself patriarch by contract. And Robyn, his legal equal in that document, became his queen. Every dollar the other wives contributed. Every dream they pinned on Coyote Pass. Every sacrifice they made for family. It all flowed into a system where only two people could ever win, Kody and Robyn Brown. And now, that system, that secret, is finally being exposed. Because this isn't just a family feud anymore. It's a legal bombshell waiting to explode. Stay tuned. The reckoning for Coyote Pass is only just beginning. This wasn't a clerical mistake hidden in legal jargon. It was the blueprint of control, the very foundation of Kody and Robyn Brown's empire. Someone, whether it was Kody, Robyn, or the lawyer they handpicked, made a deliberate, strategic decision. They built a system with two tiers of ownership, the powerful and the powerless. And of course, they placed themselves at the top. This wasn't chance. It was premeditated. A plan executed with smiles, signatures, and false promises. For Janelle, the pain of this betrayal must be beyond words. She was the financial anchor of the family, the one who budgeted, worked, saved, and sacrificed. For decades, she prided herself on her discipline and her sense of partnership. To learn that her trust was turned into a weapon against her, that her life's savings were signed away with a flick of a pen. That is devastation on a spiritual level. It isn't just money that was stolen. It's her story, her dignity, her belief that she was ever truly a partner. What she's facing now is the shattering realization that her marriage wasn't a union. It was a long con. Christine, by contrast, escaped, bruised but free. She walked away before the trap snapped shut. But Janelle and Mary weren't as lucky. Their savings, their retirement, their security, all trapped in the Coyote Pass mirage, now legally controlled by the man who abandoned them, and the wife he crowned queen. And this isn't hearsay. According to insider accounts and Maddie's reported statements, the truth is written in black and white, in the very operating agreement that created Brown Family Land LLC. The document itself is a confession. A contract spelling out one of the coldest power grabs ever to play out on reality TV. Those smiling faces on signing day? Lies, that speech about family unity and equality. A performance. Coyote Pass wasn't a dream for the family, and it was a trap. A corporate cage built to secure Kody and Robyn's financial future on the backs of the women they were preparing to leave behind. But now the silence is cracking, the evidence is surfacing, and the women who once stayed quiet are not staying quiet anymore. A storm is forming over Flagstaff, not one of construction and progress, but of reckoning and justice. Because the alleged secret loan changes everything. According to sources close to Janelle's legal team, what started as a consultation has turned into a full-scale investigation, and what they found is explosive. The theory is that soon after the LLC was created, once all the wives' contributions were locked into the company, Kody and Robyn went to a bank. But they didn't go as Kody and Robyn Brown, reality stars with unstable income. They went as the sole managing members of Brown Family Land LLC, the only people with legal authority over a piece of property worth nearly $1 million. With that document in hand, they allegedly convinced the bank to approve a massive home equity line of credit. Not for construction, not for family use, but for themselves. That's right. A secret loan, backed by Janelle and Mary's life savings, allegedly used to fund Kody and Robyn's luxury mansion. And when you compare the timelines, everything clicks into place. The family was broke. Christine was talking about moving back to Utah. Everyone was drowning in rent. And then suddenly, Kody and Robyn appear with a down payment for $1 million house. How? From where? This theory gives us the answer. They allegedly mortgaged the family's future for their own comfort. If true, it's not just betrayal. It's fraud, textbook financial deception. A false loan taken under the guise of business, when in reality, it was personal enrichment. Every time Kody lectured about loyalty, every time he scolded the others for not believing in the dream, he was standing in a home allegedly bought with the very money he stole from their dream. And that's why Coyote Pass still sits empty. It was never meant to be built on. It was collateral, a pawn in a much bigger, darker game. The illusion of a family united around faith and land was always just that, an illusion. Now the masks are off. The contracts are being read, and what once looked like a shared vision is being revealed for what it truly was. A paper trail of betrayal written in Kody's own hand. Kody's excuses have always been paper thin, and now they've completely collapsed under the weight of the truth. First, he said the land couldn't be built on because it wasn't paid off. Then it was the city, the permits, the utilities. Then he blamed family drama. But what if the real reason is much darker and far simpler? You can't build on land that's already mortgaged to the hilt. If Kody and Robyn took out a massive home equity line of credit, a HELOC, against Coyote Pass, that land isn't free to build on. It's collateral. Banks don't hand out construction loans for properties already drowning in debt. And a HELOC? That's a revolving line of credit, a personal slush fund dressed up as business capital. It means they could have been quietly using that money for years, funding their cars, vacations, designer wardrobes, and even the nanny's paycheck. Coyote Pass wasn't a family dream. It was their private ATM. And the second other houses go up, the second that land gets divided, the ATM shuts down. Kody's infamous claim that he was done with plural marriage, that he no longer considered himself married to Mary or Janelle, now takes on a chilling new meaning. Because he didn't just walk away emotionally, he walked away financially years ago. He'd already built a wall around the money. He ring-fenced their assets, legally cutting them off while still profiting from everything they contributed. He wanted monogamy with Robyn, but the money of polygamy. And the LLC was the perfect vehicle for that. It let him keep his ex-wives' money without having to keep his ex-wives. Now look again at Christine's exit. We all saw a woman reclaiming her self-worth, her independence, her peace. But behind the scenes, she may have been saving herself from financial ruin. Remember, she gave Kody the proceeds from the sale of her Flagstaff home, money meant for the family fund. A fund we now know was fully under Kody and Robyn's control. Christine didn't just leave out of heartbreak. She left because she saw the ship sinking. Every resource, every dollar, every ounce of energy was being funneled toward one lifeboat, Kody and Robyn's. She made the most strategic move of her life. She didn't just escape emotionally, she pulled off a financial prison break. But then there's Mary. For years, we've watched her wait, hoping for a spark, a smile, some reason to stay. People chalked it up to loyalty, faith, or stubborn hope. But what if the truth is simpler and far more tragic? What if Mary is a financial hostage? She poured her Vegas profits into Coyote Pass. That's a massive part of her net worth. If she leaves, she walks away from it all. Kody and Robyn have no reason to buy her out. Why would they? As long as she stays silent, they keep control. They can refuse to sell, refuse to build, refuse to pay her back. She's stuck, not just emotionally, but economically. Her lonely existence in Flagstaff, her desperate attempts to stay in the family's good graces, they suddenly make sense. She wasn't waiting for Kody's love. She was waiting for her money. And then there's Janelle, the level-headed one, the planner, the financial backbone of the family. For her, this discovery must have been earth-shattering. That LLC document, that signature, it was the match that lit the slowest, cruelest fire. Every budget she managed, every argument she had with Kody about money, every delay in construction, it all clicks into place now. She wasn't just being ignored. She was being used. She was financing the very structure that would cut her out. Janelle's calm has turned to fury. She's not fighting for a plot of land anymore. She's fighting for the truth, for the years, the work, the savings stolen in plain sight. And Maddie? Her anger is righteous. She's watching her mother's sacrifice get wiped away, her family's future gutted by greed. Now let's talk about Robyn. For years, she's hidden behind the tears, the "I just want everyone to get along" act. But those tears dry fast when you look at the pattern. Robyn has always been the one who understood the paperwork, the one who started businesses, the one who smiled sweetly while structuring ownerships and contracts. So ask yourself, who really came up with the manager-managed structure of the LLC? Who really understood what that meant? Who stood to benefit most from it? Because Kody may be the emotional manipulator, but Robyn is the strategist. She's the one who ensured that when the house of cards fell, she'd still be holding the deed. She wasn't just playing house. She was executing a corporate takeover. And the proof? Look at Dabsark, the company Kody and Robyn named after their children. That wasn't their first solo venture. Brown Family Land LLC was Dabsark 2.0, a scheme disguised as a family business. Now the legal clock is ticking. Janelle, and possibly Mary and Christine, could sue. They could demand the LLC be dissolved for fraud and breach of fiduciary duty. That would mean discovery. The nightmare Kody and Robyn can't afford. Every bank statement, every loan application, every credit card bill dragged into the light. If that HELOC can be traced, if the money trail leads to their luxury home or personal expenses, it won't just be civil penalties. It could become criminal. Bank fraud, wire fraud, a public reckoning of epic proportions. But there's the catch. A lawsuit would be nuclear. It would rip open every wound, every secret, every penny. So now, the OG3, Christine, Janelle, and Mary, face the hardest choice of their lives. Do they walk away, leaving their money in the ruins of Coyote Pass? Or do they fight and drag Kody and Robyn into the light once and for all? Because one thing's for certain, this isn't just family drama anymore. It's a financial war, and the battle for Coyote Pass has only just begun. Writing, welcome back to my channel. Do they band together, pool their remaining strength, their last savings, their heartbreak, and finally hire a team of lawyers to take back what is rightfully theirs? That is not just a question for the viewers. It is the question that Janelle, Christine, and Mary must be asking themselves every single day. Because now the truth isn't rumor, it's documented fact. Maddie has revealed the legal papers that prove Kody and Robyn scammed the wives into surrendering all financial control. It's not speculation anymore. It's a written betrayal. So what comes next? Do the OG3 sue to dissolve the LLC? Do they expose the corporate farce that robbed them blind? Or do they walk away, defeated, humiliated, carrying only the ashes of their faith and family? Because make no mistake, this is no small decision. This is war. And the battlefield is the courtroom. If they go forward, they're not just suing for their money. They're putting the entire mythology of the Brown family on trial. And that trial would rest on 3 explosive legal pillars: fraudulent inducement, breach of fiduciary duty, and unjust enrichment. Picture it. A tense courtroom in Flagstaff. Janelle sitting across from her lawyer as he lays out the plan. First, he'd say fraudulent inducement. Kody and Robyn lied about the nature of the LLC. They told the wives it was about unity, about shared ownership, when in truth, it was a trap. The OG wives signed documents they didn't fully understand, never told about managing members or non-voting members. They thought they were joining hands. They were handing over power. The evidence? Years of footage. Kody preaching about our land, our dream, never once revealing that he and Robyn legally controlled it all. Then comes the second pillar, breach of fiduciary duty. As managing members, Kody and Robyn had a sacred obligation to act in the best interest of everyone in the LLC, but instead, they allegedly used the land to secure secret loans, funding their mansion, their vacations, their lifestyle. They didn't protect the family's dream. They mortgaged it for themselves. And finally, unjust enrichment, the legal translation of pure greed. Kody and Robyn allegedly used money from Janelle, Christine, and Mary to build a life of luxury. Their house, their credit cards, their nanny, all of it built on money that didn't belong to them. Now imagine the discovery process, the subpoenas, the bank statements, the text messages, every hidden transfer traced, every dollar followed from Coyote Pass to Robyn's front door. But Kody and Robyn wouldn't go quietly. Their defense would be venom disguised as virtue. Kody would sneer, "They signed it. They're adults. It's not my fault they didn't read it." He'd frame it as leadership, not control. He'd accuse Janelle of being irresponsible, Christine of being emotional, and Mary of being reckless. He'd say he had to protect them from themselves. He'd twist betrayal into benevolence. And on TLC's cameras, he'd turn martyr, talking about faithless women, about how they turned against God's plan. Then there's Robyn, the master of tears. On the stand, she'd whisper, "I don't understand all this business stuff. Kody handled everything. I just wanted us to be a family." And for the cameras, she'd weep. "They're trying to take away my home. They're punishing me for being the wife Kody actually loves." But the discovery would not care about tears. It would expose what love cannot excuse, a decade of financial manipulation dressed up as spiritual unity. And as their lawyers combed through records, another truth would surface. This wasn't just about Coyote Pass. It was the capstone on years of quiet consolidation. The TV money, the corporate accounts, everything likely funneled through entities Kody controlled. While Christine struggled to leave, while Mary begged for funding, while Janelle lived in an RV, Kody and Robyn lived like royalty, their family unity a smokescreen for control. Even Mary's B&B battle takes on new meaning. Kody didn't just doubt her plan. He feared her independence. Her success would have meant power he couldn't touch. So he blocked her, controlled her, until she had to build it alone. And there's one more twist, a cruel one. If the LLC was treated as a partnership for taxes, each wife would have received a K-1 tax form, reporting income or losses. What if Kody and Robyn declared fake losses to reduce their taxes, while using the wives' names on those filings? It's not just theft. It's potential tax fraud, a crime that makes the victims complicit. Imagine Janelle realizing her name was used to protect the very people who robbed her. That's not a mistake. That's strategy. So what happens now? A public lawsuit could destroy everything: Kody's reputation, Robyn's last shred of credibility, even the TLC deal. Which is why the smarter play might already be underway. A quiet, merciless negotiation behind closed doors. Janelle doesn't need the spotlight, she needs leverage. Her attorney sends a letter, fraudulent inducement. Breach of fiduciary duty, tax irregularities. Buy me out or we go to court. And now Kody and Robyn face the one thing they can't manipulate: consequences. Because if this goes public, the house of cards collapses. They might have to sell land, mortgage their mansion, or worse, watch it all burn. This is the final act. The dream of Coyote Pass has turned into a battlefield of lawyers, accountants, and shattered illusions. The family that once preached love and faith has been reduced to contracts and countersuits. Kody's charm was never about leadership, it was about control. Robyn's tears were never innocent, they were tactical. Christine's escape wasn't rebellion, it was survival. Mary's loyalty wasn't devotion, it was captivity. And Janelle? She's not broken. She's calculating. Maddie's revelation was more than a leak. It was the match that lit the fuse. Because now the OG3 aren't wives anymore. They're plaintiffs. And they're coming to collect.